Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Mommy Guide Inc. For those who are new to the channel, welcome, welcome. I am Mommy Lala. Yes, today is our continuing series of going live every day in the month of August, which we call CEDA. And every day, I try to feature things that a newbie crafter or somebody who is actually just trying or maybe is being inspired to try out crafting might possibly want to do. Now, for maybe I know that a lot of us somehow might have wanted to actually start crafting maybe when they were still very young, but somehow life happens and you've never really have gotten the time nor the resources to actually keep at it. But now, today, our feature is going to be on things that somehow, maybe in the past, you said, oh, I will start. Okay, so you bought this whatever, crafty or artsy item thinking that this is going to be the day that you are going to start and come up with a project, okay, that you've been wanting to do so. And that's basically a story for a lot of us, right? So yesterday, if you can see the background, all right, so it's a little bit new compared to the past 2 years that you have seen me have at the back, because yesterday what we did was to actually redo that background, right? So you guys, the people in the chat, had helped me try to figure out how I can actually do that, right? So this is a collaboration by so many people, okay, to come up with that board. So if you want to check that out, please do check out the link in the description where you have the playlist for my whole craft every day in August. All right, so today we're gonna be featuring a technique or a topic that I'm not really very comfortable with because I'm not really a mixed media artist. But I do love, mixed media artists when they come up with their projects. And one of them is actually in the chat right now. So that is Zell. Hi, Zell. Zell is her channel name, okay, and her handle is Sprinkle with Cards. She is a Filipina artist crafter based here in the Philippines. And although she has not really been, crafting for such a long time, but her talent really shines through. So if you want more inspiration in terms of what we are going to be creating tonight, yes, please, check out Zell Sprinkle with Cards on Instagram and on YouTube for more inspiration. Another one that you can follow, who is also a Filipina but based in the US, is Miss Jo, okay, of the owner and the awesome creator behind Papel at Iba Pa. For our foreigner friends, okay, it's Papel, like paper with an L, ATBP, right? So there you go. That is her channel name. And of course, you have Wims, right? You've seen Wim several times already here in the chat. And she also is an awesome mixed media artist. And for those in our community, of course, we have Dawn, we have Tracy, we have Vicky Penny, and so many others. Okay, I know Yvette must have dabbled in, mixed media as well. Good morning, my friend. You really wake up early, my friend. Thank you so much for dropping by. So as I was saying, yesterday we did, this back pegboard of mine. So I thank everybody. That includes Yvette also, who has been very, instrumental in coming up with the finished wall that you see right now. So while doing so, we actually, this was one of the several products that I had to remove, from that pegboard, because for the past 2.5 years that it has been there. So the reason behind that peg wall, on top of being, of course, aesthetically pleasing as a background, it also is meant to be functional. And so yesterday, while we were trying to redo the back, I removed everything and then looked at everything and check, have I actually used this in the past couple of weeks or months? And absolutely not. So I said this had to go. And then you guys in the chat, specifically Dawn, said, why don't you come up with a an episode or a project where you can intentionally use them. I said, so what will I use it for? And so the agreed upon reason or way to actually use it is to mix it with texture paste and create and use it for an art journal or art journal project. Thus, the episode for today, right? So there you go. So that now I have never done this. I wasn't even able to do it earlier because it's a Saturday for us, and normally Saturdays I still have work. And then after that, I had to do errands. So basically, didn't really have time to try this out. So I'm not even sure if it's gonna work. So your guess is as good as mine, right? All right. So let's just check the chat first. Yes, Zell is saying hi to everyone. It's almost end of your CEDA. Exactly, right? So sometimes it's the hardest thing is just to start, right? So once you've started it, and then everything just, happens. It's been a while. Yes. Life happens, right? Yes. And of course, Vicky, good morning. Good morning, my dear friend. And she's also saying good morning to Zell. Vicky, hi. This is Zell. Vicky. Vicky is VJ Design, Zell. And Zell is sprinkled with cards, Vicky. So there. Okay. So I hope that you guys would get to know each other better. Okay, Zell, maybe you could hop on to, some of Vicky's videos. She just actually started putting out content on her channel just a few weeks or months right now. So, it would be great if you could visit her channel as well. And so would Vicky towards yours. All right. So that is our project for tonight. Okay, I'm going to create mini art journal, right? So for those who don't know what an art journal is, it is basically a journal, okay, where you can put in as many creative anyway, this is how I define it, my friends. Okay, as many creative avenues as you want onto that, right? So if you have not been following Bitty Penny or Dawn, the Crafty Visage, or T, or Not Afraid of Color. So actually, Tracy and Dawn has this collaborative weekly live streams. Okay, but for the next couple of weeks, they will just take a break as T just needs to take a little bit of a rest. But don't worry, because they have a ton of videos that you can watch on replay on both their channels. So they show you the many different ways of actually creating an art journal. So there is no one perfect way or this is the right way to do it. But I find that, the way Tracy does it, the way Dawn does it, Zell, also of course Joe, and the artist that I'm gonna be featuring tonight, where I based the steps that I'm gonna be creating tonight, is I know most of you already know as well and probably look up to as well. She's an amazing artist, also crafter. She is Vicky. I call her Vicky P. Okay, but her name is actually, she's Greek, right? So her surname is a little bit difficult to pronounce. So it's Vicky Papaioannou. Okay, I hope I pronounced that properly. If not, sorry, Vicky. All right, so I added a link to the description of this video for the video where I actually got the 7 steps in creating an art journal if you are a beginner. So of course, it's best to actually watch the original video as I watched it myself, right? And I will just, apply that to what I'm going to be creating today. Again, the link is in the description of this video for that video that Vicky did on her channel. Again, that's Vicky Papaioannou. Okay, the link is in the description. All right, so if you're not yet subscribed to her, if you watch it, I hope that you would do so as well. Thank you, Zell, for subscribing, and I'm absolutely sure that you will love each other's content. All right, so as we go through, the different steps of creating our art journal, this, okay, will have to be used. So before we actually start with our art journal journey for tonight, let's just test this thing out. Okay, so for those who are wondering, what are these bottles? All right, they have shiny tops, right? These are actually Nuvo crystal drops. Okay, so it's a product that was obviously released by Nuvo. Okay, and it adds dimension details to craft projects. Okay, some of our crafters, artists that we look up to, like Jennifer Maguire, has done many, projects, inspired us to work with this. But as I was going through with it, it was harder than I thought. So, but then every time I would watch other crafters use it, I was like inspired to try and try again. And then finally, life happens and I actually forgot all about it. Okay, so now one of the suggestions yesterday was to actually come up with, maybe we will mix it with, okay, one of a modeling paste. Okay, so instead of glitter or instead of ink, we will try to use this. Okay, so the way, for those who are asking, so how was it really intended to be used? You know how, in our cards, do I have a, because all my cards are over there. Most of our cards, hold on guys. Let me see if I can. Let me see. Oh no. Okay. This is the only card I could pull out because I have been rearranging and so they're all outside. But okay, and there has been this. All right. So something like this, like enamel dots, right? So something like this, friends. So this is like a faux pearl. It's white, right? But then you can have something like pink. So if you can see, this has dimension. It's raised. It's not flat like this. That's flat, right? This has dimension, and that is basically what it kind of simulates, right? So, and you can have different colors. So, and then what you do with that is you kind of put it onto your card like so, right? So to embellish it, like as a final touch, to your card, like for example, this one, right? So instead of buying, this so-called enamel dots or faux pearls or whatever you want to call it, you can actually create your own. But the thing is, okay, so let me just put this away. The thing is, there are two aspects of it that is kind of that has prevented me from using it. One of which is, okay, I'm just trying to look for a paper, okay, which we can use, okay, to actually practice with this one. Let me see. I'm trying to get, okay, how about this? All right, so let's just use this scrap paper. Okay, so you get, okay, oh, see, the minute I did that, it's already removed because it's not been used for quite a while. All right, so you're supposed to create like dots, circles, right? So you press on it. Okay, let me see, is it still working? Okay, I think I need to have a pin. Hold on, friends. I will just get a pin. Sorry about that. I just, got a pin. Okay, to actually just, probably the top has dried up, so you just gotta push it a little bit. Okay, so that it's gonna move. Okay, so you're gonna, let me see if I can zoom in on this further. All right, so you just push. It's not moving. Okay, again, the last time this has been used is probably maybe more than 3 years ago. So let's see, hopefully it will still move. I know that it's still okay because I can still squish the body. It's just that I'm not sure if it will. Okay, pull out. See? Okay, maybe we remove that part. Oh, it has hardened, you see? You see? That's why it won't move. It's hardened, this part. Okay, so I gotta remove that part. Okay, so that it will flow. Okay, so that was the problem. See? Okay, so that's another thing, right? So if it's something that has to do with, it's something you can use for mixed media and stuff, I highly suggest that you actually use it, right? Because these materials are not forever. They do have shelf life, and especially if, you've already opened it, okay, and it starts to, air is incorporated or sunlight is incorporated. See, look at that. It's already powdery. Okay, so no matter how much I pushed, although the inside seems to be still okay, but the nozzle is blocked. Okay, blocked by this. Okay, pieces of dried up Nuvo drops. Okay. So hopefully yours hasn't gone bad like this. I will try to get something a little bit bigger. Okay, so it's gonna be faster. Oh, I'm not sure how many has turned into like this. Okay, you better check yours if you have this and you have not used it for a while. And remember, I live in the tropics, so it's not even cold here, right? Although I store it in a cool, dry place, and most of the time I have AC in this room, still it has dried up and solidified like so. So let's see. Let's see if it's gonna work this time now that we have pushed in the blocking. All right, there you go. Okay, so I just pushed it. I'm not moving it. And there you go. The it does is a perfect perfect circular blob. Perfect, right? So it can actually even look something like that. See? Very, very similar even in the size, right? Okay, the thing though is that this, okay, doesn't dry immediately. It takes a long while for it to dry. So if you are somebody like me, you've done all the things that you need for your card and you're already done, and then you accidentally, okay, like what I've done now, see, I've accidentally pushed it together and you see what happens. See, it's no longer a perfect circle, okay, or a perfect half circle because I accidentally touched it with this one. Or sometimes I would accidentally touch it like that, right? So it now has flattened, right? So it's no longer a perfect circle. But the thing is, if you let it dry, so let's do another one. Okay, so the only thing you need to do is to press on the body like that. Okay, and then just don't move, just continue pressing and then lift. All right, so there you go. Always that perfect circle. It took me a while to actually know how to do that, right? So there would be like what do you call that? Like webs of the Nuvo. I realized that don't pull it just yet, Before you pull it, you make sure that you've already stopped pressing. Okay, one more. Okay, you press. Okay, just let it be. And then stop. And then that's the time you press. You don't press or you don't pull while you're still pressing. Otherwise, you'll have that, web kind of a, thing. All right. So it does, it depends on how much you press. So it will be what do you call this? Double? I forgot what you call that thing. All right. So it means that this is still absolutely okay. So that is the original intent for this. Okay, to be used as an embellishment like that of an enamel dot. All right, so let's just go back to, while we're trying to let this dry, we will set it aside and I will let it dry. Okay, so let me just go back to the chat. And yes, Zell saying good morning to Susan as well. Hi, Susan. So, yes, Susan saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because she does know that you guys are from all over the world. And I thank you so much for watching. So, Zell, how long have you had your texture paste? Okay, the texture paste, Zell, that Art Basic, prior to the pandemic, so that must have been 2017? It's still okay. Okay. Hello, hello. Yes. So Susan saying hi to everybody. I find that you have to warm up the bottle before using it. I put it in my shirt for a few minutes. Ah, I didn't know that. Oh, that's awesome. Right. So again, it's like here in the Philippines, it's always warm, but it's humid, right? So, but if you are from the other side of the globe where you have winter or you have fall where it's a little bit cold, sometimes that actually makes most of our like kinds of products harder to remove from the bottle. So Yvette said, make it a little bit warm by actually putting it maybe here like that, Yvette. Underneath our armpits, or maybe hold it like that, body warm, right? So there you go. Thank you so much for that advice, Yvette. So what is the trick to not get that little pick? Okay, so there. So I learned that you don't pull it, okay, until you have stopped pressing. Because if you're still pressing and then you're already pulling it, then that will cross the peak. So the thing is, once you stop pressing, then that's the time you pull. Okay? Dome shape. Yes, it's dome shape, but there's another one. It's one word that starts with a D. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, but yes, it should be dome shape. Looks like half circle. Right. So that is what our goal is. Maybe roll it between your hands. So there, it's better rather than putting it under your armpits. All right, so Yvette said something like this, right? So again, if probably also you've not used it for quite a while, okay? So let's try other color. Okay, so let's try in honor of, what do you call this? Lynn, let's do the teal. All right, so let's try this one. Let's check if it's dried up like the other one. I guess so, because it won't move again. So let's check. Let's open up the bottle and see. All right, so there's a little bit of dried up Nuvo drops over there. So if you can see what I've been able to remove from the yellow, look at that. Right? Absolutely dried up. So no wonder. Okay, so it won't move. So this one, I'll just, remove the things that had dried up at the bottom and at the tip, of the nozzle. Okay, like so. See? So again, there are things that, especially if it's something like this or your wax, or what else have I? Okay, also some inks, they can dry up or they may dry up, so or solidify, and then hopefully the others you can still rescue, but there are products that really once they dry up cannot. Okay, I'll show you some of them maybe later if we have time. Okay, so how many products I've actually wasted because and look at that. Look at the tip. Look at that. It's solid. No wonder nothing can come out. Right? But only the tip. Okay, so once you remove that part, that has somehow solidified on top, then underneath it's still okay. All right, so it will flow once again. Okay, it's just imagine use instead of being able to use that for a product, that's now waste. Okay, so I'm just cleaning the upper part of the nozzle because it has dried up. Okay, using my pick tool. Okay. Oops, don't fall inside. Remove. Yeah, I need to remove you. Don't fall inside. All right, so now we can put back the nozzle, the fine tip nozzle. Okay, and try to, okay, create another one. So this is gonna be our, the pink one is an actual faux enamel dot. So we're gonna copy and we're gonna try to come up with something like that. Okay, it's still not coming out. Okay, there you go. Up, stop. There you go. Do it again. Okay. See, I'm not moving it, just pressing on the same spot. Before I lift it, I make sure I've already removed. Look at those perfect domes, my friends. I can't move it. I can't tilt it because it's gonna move. It's not yet dry. I love it, right? So I hope at least that helps. All right. So at least now I know that they are, I think this is already basically a great representation of what has happened to these Nuvo drops. The positive thing is that I'm happy that they're actually okay still. It's just that the topmost, okay, and the one that is on the, fine tip of the nozzle, okay, you just need to remove the things that have dried up, and then it's gonna flow once again and it's good to go, right? So this one, okay, so this is our practice one that I intentionally didn't make it perfect, so you'll see what's gonna happen if you handle it not carefully. Again, handling here is very important because again, it takes a while. Normally, for me, based on experience, and remember, I live in a tropical country, so it's not even cold, right? So I normally just let it be overnight. So about 8 to 9 hours. The next day, it's already good to go. So you can just peel that off. Okay, normally you would want to put this on a non-stick or a non-porous, let's say a glass or a piece of plastic or an acetate, so that you could easily peel it off. Because sometimes if it's paper like this, the edge might actually stick to the edge or to the bottom of your, okay, dome or half dome. Okay, there you go. Nuvo crystal drops. Right? So there's as shiny as this one. Right? So it's awesome. All right. So that is basically what it is really intended for. Okay. So for almost 3 years, it has not been used. That's why I decided that, okay, I will remove that. Okay. This was no issue. Right? So I have a lot of, the modeling pastes of, the one that I really had to throw a lot of was the Ranger. So this one's the texture pastes from Ranger. That's why I stopped buying them in big containers, so that if I don't get to use it, at least just a little bit. And then I put this, what do you call this? Press and seal. Okay. Okay, but so that, okay, you can still, okay. Oh, but it then, no more. Okay, it didn't work. Look, it's as hard as, see? Look at that. See, it's super hard. No more. It actually broke my, see? So that's the thing, right? So if you are not gonna use, okay, your mixed media, products, then don't buy. See, there's still more than half of this bottle. I don't know when I got this, but there you go. This transparent matte texture paste is a gunner, right? So again, that's why I rarely buy anything that's, big. Or normally it's like this, so that if I don't get to use it, it's not as, as wasteful rather, as if I had bought. But this one's still okay, right? So if you can see, All right, so it's fairly still the consistency of a texture paste. So oh my goodness, I forgot that this had stuff in it, and so I just messed my table. So I will just clean, right? So that is from the Nuvo drops. I'll just clean off the stuff I got that was stuck and that has dried up from my Nuvo drops. So if you have the similar products and you have not been using it for quite a while, maybe after this or while you're watching me, maybe you want to revisit, check your supplies if they're still okay. Right? If they're still okay, may I suggest that you actually create a project where you can use them. Right? Use. Okay. All right. Maybe roll it between your hands. Yes. To warm it. Okay. And, oops, sorry about that. Wrong scene. Okay. Susan said, making those would be an easy thing to do while watching live stream. Absolutely. So if you have a ton just like mine, all right, just like me, please, start using them. What if you push the press and seal a little all the way down just over the top of the contents? Yes, I also did that. This one I did not, but in the others, I also did that. Let me see. I will show you one that I did. Okay. Let me see. Okay, this one's not like that. I'm trying to look for one where I did that. Okay. But still it didn't work. There are just look at this one. Okay. Whoop, not that one. Not that one. Okay. So this one is a distress crackle paint, right? So I covered it like that. Okay, and look. Okay, so the press and seal is all the way down to where it is actually, where it is, right? So yes, I've seen that advice prior several years ago that it's best if you just not put it on top like this. Okay? Because if you do that, right, there's still air underneath. All right, but this one's still okay. So it also depends on the product. Like this is from Golden. This is a gold mica. And it's still okay. Although, the present seal is just on the top. I really make sure. Oh, this is not the right. Make sure it's the right cover. All right, there you go. Okay, I seal like so. But this one. Okay, let's check. The last time I used crackle paint, yeah, I think it was still pandemic, right? We're still locked up. So let's check. All right. So this was all the way down. Look. Hard as a rock. Hard as a rock, my friends. All right. So another wasted. Nothing. I can't even make a score line out of it. It is a waste. Right? So, again, they're not meant to last forever. And so, if you're going to buy these kinds of products, even, the best kind of advice in terms of storage, but if you've not used it for 3, 4, 5 years, right? Maybe their shelf life is just for a year or maybe 2 years, right? So, oh, but you know what? I can feel something at the bottom. Maybe it's no, it's hard. See, very, very hard at the no. Yeah, it's already okay to throw. All right. So, revisit your mixed media products, my friends. And if you feel that you have not, used them for quite a while, maybe intentionally include some of the techniques that you actually wanted to use them for, so that you will have a reason to actually use them. So for tonight, we already saw that I had to throw away this distress crackle paint and the texture paste. All right, but it's a good thing that these three are still good to go. All right, so again, check them out, every so often. I think that's the lesson learned here. And then don't buy like in big bottles, especially like in my case, I'm not really a mixed media artist because there are people who's like in all of their projects, like Zelle, you can rarely find any of Sprinkle with Cards projects without, a touch of, mixed media, inking, texturing on her projects. There's always, somehow an element of all of her work. Okay, so that is okay. I think if you are like that, then you are okay to, I give you permission to actually go and grab and buy the bigger containers. All right. So with that, now let's try and incorporate it with our project for tonight, which is an art journal. Okay, so hi Christina. Yes, another awesome, crafter artist in our community. Christina, thank you so much for dropping by. Maybe we should have had you test your products before we help you organize. Because Susan, that was in another. Remember? Let's go to this. Oops, no. Oh, where's my camera? Okay, I have to go back to my camera. All right. Camera, follow me. Remember, friends, my mixed media wall is on this side. Come on, follow. Whoop. Let's move this one first. Right, so on this wall, we didn't organize that yesterday. Right, we organized my what do you call this? My pegboard. Right, so maybe next time we should organize my mixed media area. And then I am afraid because maybe more than half of that will go to I've already, expired or something. But that's a great idea. All right, a great suggestion, Susan. Anyways, lesson learned, right? So, not be wasteful, especially now that times are hard. I actually, in fairness, I got those many moons ago, right? So, even prior to the pandemic. And as I mentioned, you cannot, say that the products aren't nice because they dried up. They're not supposed to last forever, right? So, it's really that. So, imagine like even makeup. Okay, most of the time it's just a shelf life is just a year. Okay, maximum of 2 years, but sometimes even shorter if you see any form of degradation. Let's say there is bubbles, change in color, change in scent, right? So those are what do you call this? Those are clues that something must have already reacted, or there's a new product already that has been produced, okay, because it's no longer stable. By the way, guys, I'm an industrial pharmacist, and one of the things that I do, that's why I do formulations, and I actually can create my own handmade products, right? So there you go. But when it comes to mixed media, oh, thank you so much, Vicky. Yes, you all are, part of the amazing journey of turning that awesome, pegboard at the back really nice. I love the change. I love the airier feel. And now everything at the back is really something that I will be able to use. Oh, by the way, there's an update, a little bit of update. Okay, I'll just show you. Remember? Okay, here. Okay. So remember yesterday, friends, this was left black, right? So sorry, you probably can't hear me because I'm not wearing my lapel. I'm just using it, right? If you can see, I already placed some stuff. These are my brushes because I always use that, right? So these are my Cricut blades. So these are, for what do you call this? For our ink blending stuff. Alright, and of course this one is for my wobblers, right? So there. Okay, so yesterday they weren't actually filled with anything. Alright, so finally we can start. Okay, alright, so let's start. So we are actually going to create a what do you call this? A mini art journal. But first, let's try, because what we are going to try and use this for is to coincide with our texture paste, right? So let's check if we can do that. Okay, so let's go grab, say, let us grab a, okay, there you go. Let's grab a stencil. Okay, so this stencil is from Little Birdie. All right, so, and then what we're gonna do is texture paste and add a color to the texture paste, right? So we will now get, let's say, okay, we'll just sample it out. Okay, so let's get a scrap paper. Okay, so we're gonna use this scrap paper. Okay, so and then we're gonna put, we'll stencil over it. Okay, using texture paste. So normally I just use the texture. I'm using, by the way, this is a texture modeling paste or texture paste by Fina Bear Art Basics, right? So I will just grab, a little, because it's just a sample. Okay, and then we will get, say, this one, because this one we've already removed the blockage, and we will, instead of using it to create a half dome, we will actually use it to color in our texture paste. Okay, I think this was the suggestion of Dawn yesterday, so I'm not sure if it's gonna work. All right, because this is meant to be, for texturizing. Okay, so if it does, share or has that ability to actually color in the texture paste. So far, nothing. I don't see any. Okay, so I added some more. Let's see. Again, we're just testing. As I said, in the description of this video, I have not tested this, or I'm not even sure if it's something that is gonna work. Okay, so I feel that the pigment that was used here is really, not meant for coloring. Okay, but I can already see a little bit of, it has turned from white. Okay, so this is the original color. Okay, and then now it's that. And this is our color, right? So maybe if we add a little bit more before this thing dries up. Okay, let's try if we can add a little bit more. But I feel that if you're gonna use this for that, it's kind of wasteful, right? So maybe since I've unblocked it anyway, I will just use it as its original intent. Okay, and that is to create, kind of animal dots out of it. All right, so, but then, so we see that yes, it can be used. I can already see that it has actually, turned into a little bit of a light blue color. Okay, so I'm already picking it up. I'm just gonna get the wet tissue so we can clean that up pretty fast before it dries up. Okay, and then wipe it dry. Okay, and then let's now try this for size. All right, so let's put this, bits and pieces here and there. Okay, I'm just trying to use up everything that it's on. Okay, this gosh, what do we call this? Palette knife. There you go. You see the tinge of light blue, right? So it works. So Dawn, if ever you watch this on replay, so I do have, okay, like a, okay, I'll show you. I do have something like this. All right, so it's filled with water. And so what I do is, after I use a stencil, since I don't have like a sink beside me, here. So I have to go to the restroom. So what I do is, okay, my palette knife, I can easily clean off with wet tissue. But the stencils, since I cannot really clean them properly just yet, I put them on that. And now you don't need to have like a bucket like that that's big, right? So I just want that it's really, really submerged into that. So that, because dried up texture paste or acrylic paint on stencils can ruin it if you didn't clean it immediately. So there you go. All right. So, and knowing that this has Nouveau paint means that this will probably actually take a while for it to dry up. Okay. But then, of course, I'm not going to throw that. That is an awesome. Okay. Okay. But now we know that it does work. Come on. Focus. It does work. Okay, it does have the tinge of teal, but very, very faint. So there you go. How about this one? Is it already okay? It's still wet. I don't want. Oh, see, I tried. It's still wet. I tried it on the one that I already made a mistake. See, so it's really gonna take several hours, okay, to actually dry that. Okay, so we'll add this one to the drying area over there in front of me. Okay, away from me so I don't accidentally, what do you call that? I don't accidentally touch it. All right, so that is, okay, so the test is done. Okay, I actually did several videos in the past already where I went through some of my products that I have, and had to throw not just mixed media stuff but even inks. Inks that you've never used, but you are like a completionist. You wanted to buy all the colors, all the sizes, all the releases, but you never really got to use everything. And then the problem with pigment inks is that eventually the pads, they they disintegrate. They get powdery, and then the ones that are a little bit hard, like for the dye inks, once you press on it and you've not used it for a long while, it's like squished forever, right? So when that happens, those really have to be thrown out. But if it's just dry, you don't see, there's no ink, but you know that you've never really used it, so those can still be revived. I actually use a mixture of vegetable glycerin and water to actually revive it, and most of the time it still works. But if again the pads are destroyed, then you gotta throw that out already. All right. Oh, Cordelia is here. Hello, Cordelia. Good morning. I have a container to put stencils in. Then I have to be careful not to kick it. So, Cordelia, I put it over there away from me because you know me, right? It's like I'm all over the place. Okay. Yes, we all do that, right? I've used pops of color directly through a stencil, right? So yeah, because this one is actually a Nouveau crystal drop. Cordelia, we were just trying to check and think of a way of how we can use it other than it was intended for. Just in case that it was really no longer, usable. But as we've seen in what we've unpacked two, this one and the yellow, and we saw that if you want, you can watch on replay later, that some parts or some products have dried up on the upper part of the lower part and upper part. So we just have to scoop that away so that the rest of the products are still actually okay, right? And this is actually the sample. Okay. I have to remove this. Okay, so, there you go. Oh, I ruined it. Okay. Oh, it's there. Oh, I still saved it. Oh my gosh. You didn't see it. I actually ruined that, but I saved it. Okay, because this is our model. It's actually a faux enamel dot. Okay, so I will actually remove it just so, okay, so all this are from the Nouveau drops. Okay, this one I intentionally made it flat so that you will see that if you're not careful, and it's the last part of your creating your card because it's the embellishment, you could ruin your card. And I've ruined so many cards because of the addition of the Nouveau drops because it doesn't dry immediately. And I'm like, I will forget that it's not yet dry and I will accidentally tap on it, or a product might fall on it, and that's, it has destroyed my card. And so that's why it has not been used for a long time. And yesterday, while we were going through, the redo of my pegboard at the back, we realized that this had to go away from that board because it's never been used for the past almost 3 years. Now that we have actually realized it can still be used, so what I'm going to do is create a ton of enamel dots from these. I will use it all up and let's see how many I'll be able to create. At least, right? So I have used them rather than them just, going to waste. All right, so I'll tell you how many I can create, okay, using all of these, all right, in the end. And I'll have all the colors, right? Anyways, all right, so now let's create our art journal. So for our art journal, okay, I will be using, where is it? Okay. So this is actually, okay, so this one is 5 7/8 by, gosh, I forgot. Anyway, it's just half of this watercolor pad that I have. And so it's this one, okay? But then, okay, it's kind of still big. I want it to be just a mini. So I found this sketchbook of mine. I had to remove the cover, my friends, because it's made of leather, faux leather. And you know what happens when you've not used a product that's faux leather? It started to disintegrate. It's like the minute you touch it, it's like the leather is breaking apart, right? So I had to remove, okay, there's still bits and pieces of that thing. I just had to remove the actual hardcover, okay, and then we'll use this, okay, for our project for tonight, okay? So because it's a nice book, okay, and it can lay flat, okay? So let me see if we can zoom out a little bit. All right, so you can see the full. All right, so it's gonna look like that, okay? So probably what I'm gonna do is, okay, because this is a sketchbook, so although it's kind of thick, it's about probably from the fill of it about 250 GSM, but it's not watercolor paper. I don't think so. So I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm not gonna be inking a lot in terms of very liquid stuff. So we'll see. Just maybe we can just use this one instead of actual watercolor pieces. Okay, so let's just use this one. And this one is actually, okay, so it's 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 and 5/8 by 4 inches. Okay, so it's 4 by 5 and 5/8. Okay, so one, okay, page. So the spread is actually 8, okay, by 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and 5/8. All right. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so again, we are using Vicky P or Vicky Papa. Okay, hold on. I have to get my my code or my cheat sheet. Papaioannou. All right, because she's Greek, right? So her surname is actually kind of difficult for me to say. So I always refer to her as Vicky P. So she has mentioned the 7 easy steps for beginners if you are an utter beginner for art journaling, and that is basically the inspiration for our craft everyday in August is really for beginners. So if you want more advanced art journaling projects, techniques, inspiration, please do head out to some of the people in the chat who actually do art journaling as their part of their content. All right. So she said, first step, Okay, so let's write it down so that if you are watching, you can see it. Okay, step one is to add rice paper. All right, so there. Okay, so let me just put it over here. Okay, so step one is add rice paper. So let's put it there. Okay, and lock it in place. All right, so what is rice paper? Rice paper is like tissue paper. It has decorations and stuff, but the thing with rice paper is that it is sturdier and better to use for mixed media. Okay, so I have here, okay, so like what you use for decoupage, right? So these are from Stamperia, okay, and I think some are from, this is already a mixture of some of the rice paper that I have left over. Okay, because I love using rice paper for covering some of my projects like this. Remember, this one was a plain, box, MDF, and then I decoupage and used, this rice paper from Stamperia. Is it Stamperia? Yes, I think this is Stamperia. If not, Lil Birdie. Now I'm not sure if it's Stamperia or Lil Birdie. Right. Anyway, one of those. Okay. So she said, if you are an utter beginner, okay, it would be easier for you to use rice paper because probably for now you're not so used to using different media just yet, right? So inking or blending with inks and stuff, maybe it's something that kind of just flies over your head in terms of it's not something that you can actually really at this point master or understand. So the rice paper would look something like this. As you can see, it looks like tissue paper, right? Okay, but it's actually sturdier, so if you add mixed media to it, it's not gonna rip. Okay, so I have here several. Okay, these are leftovers from my previous projects. Okay, so let's just check which ones I have. And okay, you tell me which one you want me to use. Okay, so I have here this one. I have here this one. So which one do you feel you want me to use? So rice paper may come in different designs, color. It doesn't always just black or white or brown. It can be also in colored like that one. Okay, so which one do you feel you want me to use, my friends? Let me go grab another one. Okay, so this one might have more colorful ones. Okay, all right, so like this one. So which one do you feel you would want me to use, my friends? They're all gorgeous, I know, right? So do you want the more colorful ones, or do you want just the vintage looking ones? All right, so which one? Okay. Okay, Susan said, I had a circa 90s black ink pad where the color turned into a brownish red after a couple of decades. Okay, exactly. Decades, right? Okay, can you use acrylic paint in texture? Yes, I've done that. Absolutely. That one I can absolutely say yes, because I've done that several times. Yes. I've got Stamperia Alice in Wonderland paper. I've used it all up. So yes, so that was Stamperia, right? Okay. So now, because I was like, it's either Stamperia or Little Birdie, the one that says London. Okay. Oh, this one, Susan, you want this one? Or is it Vicky? Okay, Vicky. Oh, you want this one? All right. Okay. Okay, and the butterfly. Okay, this one. Is there another butterfly? Yeah, I think that's the one. All right, so let's use that. See, Because if it's me, it's like I cannot decide because they're all gorgeous. So that's why I make you guys decide for me. I feel that it's easier when I actually already have something that I need to work with. Right? So I need to decide. Okay. Let me just put this one over here. So, okay. So we will use this. Okay. And, okay, probably this. Okay. And since they're more or less kind of have the same kind of feel, I can feel we can use both. Okay. I have those little birdie papers with the birds on it. I have that Alice papers too. So, okay, crafty minds think alike, right? So, okay, Vicky said add rice paper. Okay, so let us assume, okay, that okay, our friends who are watching are gonna do this are truly just beginners. So I will try not to like mix and match or fussy cut anything, right? So if you are an actual awesome, a beginner, so that you won't be immobilized by fear of just starting because you don't know which part of that awesome paper do I actually use, right? So if that's going to be a problem, so might as well just don't just use the whole stretch of paper. Okay, so normally if you will see our favorite, artists, they normally don't use the paper as is where is. They will just cut bits and pieces of this and that, right? So for this one, I do know that that one is about 4. So let's do, okay, 8. So 4 is up to there. Okay, so a little bit, maybe up to there. All right, so I just, kind of guesstimated. All right, so that this will be, okay, the whole stretch would be something like that, okay? And then I will just, okay, cut it in half, okay? So let's do one side first, okay? So that our friends who are beginners, okay, will not be overwhelmed. I just needed to get my, okay, scissors that are a little bit longer. Okay, so if you are watching and you're a beginner, the one I used to cut earlier is called a paper trimmer. It makes cutting straight lines easier. Okay, but if you just have scissors, definitely use your pair of scissors. All right, since actually Linda liked the London, not Linda, sorry, Vicky liked the London part of this paper. So we are going to actually use that. All right. So how do you attach a rice paper? Okay, easy. Okay, so you normally use, oh, I forgot to get it. Okay, hold on. You would use a, okay, mixed media. Okay, hold on. Or a decoupage. I find that the decoupage or Mod Podge is a little bit very sticky. So hold on. Just look at this one first as I go through. Okay, you can trying to look for it. Okay, we can just go that. Where is it? Yikes. Otherwise, if I can't find it, okay, we'll just have to use a much punch. Okay, or okay, hold on. Hold on, friends. I need my one, but I can't reach it. I hope it still works, friends. Oh, it's still working. Okay, so this is a distress collage medium. Yay! Still working. Yes. There's one product that is still working. Yes. Lord. I thought all the stuff I have are already okay. I just needed to. See? It's still okay. All right. So this one though it's the vintage. Okay. So you have collage medium that is just white or clear, but this is okay the one that is vintage. Okay, so Tim Holtz Distress Collage Medium is a tinted gel medium. Okay, so that's what you need to use, gel medium. It's ideal for gluing, layering, and sealing mixed media projects. Apply directly on porous or non-porous surfaces. Okay, distress semi-translucent with a vintage tint matte finish. All right, there you go. I'm so happy that this is okay. I thought it's like, okay, I'm gonna fail because I don't have a collage medium. Hold on, I need the brush. Brush. All right. So this is just, a regular brush, my friends. Okay, so what we're gonna do, okay, is to just, put it onto your page. Okay, so this acts both, okay, as a glue and as a sealant, right? So that later on, as you try to do other techniques, okay, so it already is somehow, okay, fortified, so you can do it. Okay, whatever other, technique that you may want that needs your background to be water resistant. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so you do want to use it. You can use your fingers if you want. It's just that I hate my fingers being sticky and all. If I can, right? But there are really certain techniques where you really need to have your hands be dirty. Okay, and that's fine. All right, and then okay, then you put your rice paper. Okay. And a little OC. And so I want it. All right. So there you go. And then you go over it again. Okay. So with another. Okay. Now on top of it. Right. Okay. All right. Okay, I see Jana kind of already in the chat. Good morning, my friend. How's your weekend starting, my friends? How's the weekend thus far for all of you? Okay. Oh, that sounds fun, Vicky. What was fun? Oh, you're playing with the 3D printer. I was supposed to be cleaning up my desk and then, but that's awesome. Okay, so for those who don't know, okay, I often would, ask Jana, what is it that you can't do? I already know the answer. There's only one thing that Jana cannot do. Okay, my friends. And that one, I will let her actually explain. All right. So if you want, okay, you can leave it as such, or, we can put this. Okay, so probably a bit of this butterfly paper. Again, there is no right or wrong. Okay, so it's just that we want to incorporate a bit of, this paper, okay, onto, okay, probably this. Okay. This one. Okay. All right. Okay. So don't worry. Okay. One thing that I had to actually also learn is to just relax and let the process happen. Trust the process, as T would say. Just trust the process, Lala. Okay, fine. Sometimes I don't know why. I don't like what I see, but T would always say, just trust the process. Let it be. Let it go, right? So it's already done. You can't undo anything anymore. So let's just move to the next one. All right. So now that we've added our rice paper, what is step number 2? According to Vicky, all right, so I actually again added the link to the original video of Vicky P for this one. Okay, so this is a technique that she has mastered and that she has been sharing for a long while for beginners or for those who want to actually do art journal for the first time. Step 2 is add a little bit of white. Okay, so add a little bit. Okay, add a little bit of white. What do you mean by add a little bit of white? Okay, so as we try get my okay, get my heat gun so that I can actually sweet pie. Should have done this earlier, all right? So that I can just make sure that I dry it. All right? So, and then I will just cut this edge. Okay. 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 All right. So there you go. Okay. And then let's add a bit of glue there as well. All right. Okay, so now we will add the white. Okay, I will just dry this one a little bit more. Okay. No kasi cutting. Doing a scrapathon after while with mindless crafting. You're fussy cutting a snowman. Oh, you're preparing for Christmas cards? Or are you going to join an art fair? Susan? All right. So the next part she said is to just put white. Brush in. And then let me, okay, so use white Okay. You can use white gesso. Regular gel gloss, black gesso, white gesso. Okay. Here, this is black. Try my white. My white. Friends can there. Okay, I found it. I couldn't find it. Okay, so I really think we should the next thing that we should organize here in my craft room is that side over there, right? So we should yes, organize. All right. So we should put some white, okay, on our papers. Now, some they would want to start with like maybe you want to do a master board of some sort. So actually, Vicky, okay, in the chat, if you're watching and then you want to check out, Vicky has a video on that recently. You may want to check that out. Or of course, you may also want to check out, Dawn's and T's channel as well for, inspiration. Okay. So that, okay, so don't be afraid, just, put in white here and there. Okay. Especially on the parts where you feel, okay, so no rhyme or reason. Okay, it doesn't have to be, okay, so we don't want, of course, our butterfly to be gone. Okay, so we will try to keep that over there. Okay, so, okay, maybe do like that. Okay, so the other parts, okay, so this brush is actually dried up. Okay, so I'm trying to, okay, so that's a better one. Because that one, okay, won't glide. It's dried up. Okay. So there. This one's better. Okay. So the ones that I like, okay, to still be seen, I don't really cover too much. Just like, like that. Okay, and then we're done. Okay, you can use your fingers, you can use a brush. Let's put this dried brush into my bucket as well. All right, so that will, okay, make sure that it becomes pliable again. All right, and then we just heat it a bit. Okay, step 3. Step 3 is to do a bit of stamping. All right, so we will do a bit of stamping. Again, if you are you're here because you are like expecting somebody who's a mixed media artist or I'm not. Okay. So this is just my own take. Okay, based on, of course, the suggestion of Vicky P. Right? So we are following her method, okay, her 7 steps of working on an art journal. And I find that if you're a beginner, having like a step-by-step guide as compared to you can do whatever you want, add whatever you want. I know, right? That's amazing. But as a beginner, that could be, kind of, it's like kind of scary because, all right, if I can add anything, do anything, where do I start? Right? So having a set of, really very basic step-by-step instruction is, I find, best for beginners like you and I, right? All right. So our dear friends are actually watching and at the same time doing something. Yes, again, thank you for dropping by, Jenna. Okay, so Jana has a texture paste class with Debbie J. Oh, okay, so Debbie J's Crafting Corner. All right, is her handle on YouTube. Okay, need to dig out all of my supplies. Yes, dig out because they're way, way, way down below. Right, so if you've not checked out Debbie J, yes, Debbie J is another awesome, content creator, crafter on YouTube. Okay, and Susan says, I'm doing it to work on my hand-eye coordination. Great. Good thing snowmen are white. You can't tell that they once had a white border around them. Perfect, Susan. You gave me an idea. I haven't made it to a Debbie J live in a while. Because for me, actually, Debbie J's lives are like super early. Around 3 or 4 before. Okay, Christina saying hi to Jana. I cannot sing. Oh, there you go. But everything else, okay, Jana can. So if ever I make a face-to-face event, right, and hopefully you guys can come, we already know what Jana is going to do for our special number when alone. I'm trying to finish my craft roulette card. Woot woot. Okay, I think that's due tomorrow, right, Cordelia? It is a concert in my car when I'm driving. Do you know, I don't know if some of you knows this, because maybe, but I actually did several live streams singing here in my channel, but it had to get deleted immediately after because it's gonna get a lot of, community strikes or claims because of the, copyright of the covers. Okay, not because I'm good at it, just because I wanted to, right? So I love to sing too, private. So actually, maybe one of these days I will do that, right? So we can like sing, while crafting, maybe on a private, video or something. Okay, what do you call this? Vicky, the link to Vicky P's channel and actually the suggestion for this video is in the description. There's a link there, okay? Because her surname is so hard to spell, okay? But it's pronounced, I think, as Vicky Papa. Oh, where is it? Oh, I lost my cheat code. So let's just call her Vicky P. Just a happy meal. Oh, okay. I'm still trying to finish my PhDs plus it's therapy. For those who don't know yet, another PhD has come up recently in our community. Okay, so it's not just PhD paper surgery. There's a new section. Okay, and I think a lot of us are actually there. Okay, projects half done. Okay, there you go. So, yes. Okay, there you go. That's the spelling, but it's Vicky Papaioannou. Yes, I think. Oh, Papaioannou. Yes, Papay, not Papao. Papaioannou. So the OA is like a W, Papaioannou. Yes. Just search her name in YouTube and she'll pop up, right? And the actual video where I took this 7 steps is actually the one linked in the description. Yes, her art journal pages are beautiful. And the way she explains is really, if you're an utter beginner, you'll not get lost. Yes, though, that's true. I think that's how we got into the rabbit hole of Stamperia. I already do want them. I love All right, just be said, you've been warned. All right, so we're done with step 2. See how easy is it? It is. We're already done with step 2. Now we're moving on to step 3. All right, so according to Vicky P, okay, so for step 3, okay, do some stamping. All right, so let me just type that. All right, so do some stamping. Okay, so we have in the past episodes for Craft Everyday in August, showed you some of the different kinds of stamps and basic stamping techniques. So this time around, you will be able to actually apply them. So just like what I did earlier, I will ask you to decide. Right? So you friends are gonna decide which stamp I will use. Okay, hold on. All right. So, okay, of course I'll not use everything, okay? I will just use, this is a very small page, right? So, let me see. Let me choose. All right. So, that, okay, or this one. I feel the others are too big. Yeah. So, let's choose from this two. Okay, so we could have that stamp, this. So tell me, all right, or probably some of this one. So which one do you want me to use for this one? Okay, so I'm just gonna grab my inks while you guys decide, okay, or are deciding. I will just okay the stuff I have because I might accidentally take my bucket of water. Okay, there you go. I don't have the Vicky P inks, so I will just use my hybrid inks. All right, so which one, my friends? Okay, her art journal pages are beautiful. All right, again, we've read that. Okay, so which one, my friends? Okay, so which one do you want me to use? I will let you decide and I will just, okay, basically do it for you. Oh, we have Kim. Hi, Kim. Thank you so much, my friend Kim, for dropping by. There you go. Kim is another, content creator friend of mine, okay, in a different niche, but she is also an awesome mom and creator. Okay, so if you have not checked out her interview with Roy, our dear friend Roy of Tech Troublemaker, she was Roy's guest this week, last Tuesday. Again, thank you, Kim, for dropping by. I like the pretty bottom left of the first one. Oh, this one? Vicky? Or is it Susan? Susan. I like that one a lot. Okay, which one, my friend? Okay, so if you can tell me exactly which one. All right. So I will pull out that one. Okay, so this one. Okay, and which one? This one? This? Any of those on the one with the bird. All right, so let's go of this one. Okay. So this. Okay. I find that. Okay, so this one. I think I like. Okay, I like that and I like that. Let me see. Maybe some of those butterflies. Just as since this is a very small space anyways, right? So do some stamping. Okay? So normally if it's art journal, unlike the usual way that we were doing stamping where you put it on a block, okay, a stamp block like this. Remember? Okay, in our previous episode for CEDA, I told you that you can use a stamping block like that to hold it. But for art journaling, we don't really want it to, we rarely stamp the whole image onto a art journal. Just bits and pieces of that, right? So what we will do is to, grab our ink. Okay, and okay, just ink. Okay, our stamp. Okay, let's say this one. Okay, and then we will just, choose. Did you see that? To ink just several parts of it. Okay, onto, okay, our page. Right? There you go. Okay, so how about this one? Okay, the same thing. Okay, so we will choose just bits and pieces of this. Okay, as you, I don't think you saw me ink it. Okay, like so. Okay, and then Okay, you can overlap if you want, okay, onto the ones that you've previously stamped, okay, or something like that. All right, and then probably our last one, okay, this one, the butterfly. Okay, I probably would want to stamp, probably there, okay, together with the other butterflies. So, and then maybe here. Okay, and to the side, like there. See, it's no rhyme or reason. Okay, so maybe I want a little bit more words. Okay, so this side seems kind of empty. All right. So now that we're okay with it, I'm okay with it. All right. So what is the next step? So that's step 3. Okay. Step 4 now will be, okay, step 4 is to, okay, add cutouts for focal points. All right. Add cutout. All right. So again, this is, a technique, or, an art journaling technique that Vicky P has tested and has been teaching. And it is a great, awesome way to actually start, with art journaling. But that doesn't mean that you can do something else. If you don't want to do focal points, you want to do something else, absolutely. But again, this is really meant for those who are beginners and who actually don't know exactly what to do, so that you won't get overwhelmed with the so many choices. You can follow this step, absolutely. All right, so the next is to cut out, okay, add cutouts or focal points. All right. So you can choose from an array of ephemera that you probably have. Okay, oh, this is actually also Stamperia. This is Pink Christmas. So I feel that this won't work for our current project for today. How about this Stamperia Collectible Passion? Okay, let me see. Okay. Okay, I feel that, all right, I think I want to use this page. The nice thing about this cutouts are basically, just like your ephemera pieces, right? So pieces that you can use as a focal point, okay, to your card, okay? So I feel that since this is kind of small and all the rest are kind of big, so that my best option would be this window. So I want to use this window. So I'm cutting it out. Okay. And that will be like the focal point, okay, of my page. Okay. So I just want to make the cut a little bit. You know what? It's my mini trimmer. Okay, so it's like that. Now, if you want to ink the sides, just grab some vintage photo over here. Okay, so this is a Distress Oxide vintage photo. Okay. So basically the overall feels of this page is a little bit on the vintagey look anyways, right? So that is going to be my focal point as I prepare to make it my focal point. So normally, okay, this is the part where it gets exciting, because now we can start putting layers onto it. Okay, oops. Oh, sorry. Okay, so don't forget to hit the like. Thank you so much, Vicky. Okay, Vicky's still here. Normally, Vicky by this time is needs to go somewhere. So maybe it's the weekend, so she is able to stay a little bit longer with us. So thank you so much, my friends, for putting me in the background. Putting me in your, the back of your car or listening or watching. Thank you so much. All right, so that one, okay, as it is, fine, okay. But if you do want to create a little bit of clustering, layering, yeah, right, so that can be done as well, and this is also part of that process. Okay, so we can have, all right, so we can add a little bit of other details onto that one. Let me see, I'm just trying to look for some stuff I can probably put onto that side or onto that. Okay, let me see. Okay, I am trying to look for cutouts that I can use. Okay, let me see. I probably want to use that bird. Okay, and then, bits and pieces of, let me just look for some more other stuff I could probably use that doesn't have to exactly be, what do you call this? Doesn't have to be stamperia. Okay, but something that I can use to layer in stuff with. Okay, so this is actually together with collectible passions. Okay, so probably that's just to make it, kind of look cohesive. All right, so let's just get, okay, pieces from this one. Okay, basically this is all about the different passions, right? So here is like a musical page of some sort, but everything seems to kind of be very big. So let's try and check out this. The nice thing about this cutouts from Stamperia, look. Okay, so the others are actually what you have, like the window, the doors, same in the front, same at the back, right? So how awesome is that, right? So I just need to cut some stuff. My brain is still thinking if this is what I'm gonna go for, or I will put in. Okay, so I will just cut them first and see if I like it. All right, and if not, I will use something else. Okay, as stuff that I can use to create clusters and layers and stuff. Oh, okay, could be still very big, but okay, I forgot. Okay, but that should be, where is the stencils? Okay, so I think before the focal point should be the stencils. Okay, so let's go for number 5 first. Okay, so just choose, don't put it together first. Okay, so 5 would, just double check and check out the video because I think I messed up my steps. All right, and then this one, okay, so add some stenciling. All right, so before we actually add this, we put the stenciling first. All right, so since this is Vicky's stencils, okay, I actually have her stencils here a while ago. Now where are they? Okay, these are some of Vicky's stencils. They're very pretty, right? So the thing with the stencils is that it creates the depth or dimension because everything so far is flat, right? So adding a bit of, this helps out in creating, the texture that probably this one needs. All right. So probably, okay, one, no. Okay, I probably want to use this one. Or was it this? Is it this one? Okay. All right. So let's go grab some of our texture paste that we used a while ago. But this time around, we won't color it. Just, grab a little bit of, texture paste. Okay. And then choose, okay, which part you actually want to put in the texture. Again, it doesn't have to be the whole thing. Okay, and then I will probably put something somewhere over here. All right, and then over there. Okay, so bits and pieces here and there. All right. And dry up. Okay. So we did put in a bit of, so now it has that texture. All right. So we will just dry it a little. Okay, I'm still thinking what I'm gonna put on top of this one. Okay, as a cluster. Okay, I'm looking. Okay, it's still wet. Oh, Cordelia has to leave. Bye, Cordelia. Okay. Errands. Take care, my friend. Ooh, love that. For some soup. Go. Okay, and Vicky also has to go. Be right back. No worries, my friend, as I'm still trying to dry this thing out. All right, I think it's a bit dry now because this might take a while as I try to come up with, my final, okay, thing for this one as I prepare to look for, bits and pieces that I can use to, layer this. Okay, again, when you layer and you put stuff, okay, it doesn't have to, it just adds a great, normally I will put it around on like a specific place. Okay. Okay. The one I'm adding right now are actually from Studio Light. Okay, this is Janine's Mindful Art Collection, Time to Relax. Okay. So I feel that this actually could, if this was just smaller, this would have been perfect, but it's kind of big. So I'm going to be able to kind of use that, right? So, oh, this one's great. Okay, small. Okay, I wish we had those smaller candles and stuff. Okay, there. We found one. Okay. You know how it is when you kind of want to, relax and stuff like that. There you go. You see how it could be nice to actually just start layering things out. I think that's okay. Okay, not too much. Remember, okay, we just want to have like a basic kind of thing, right? So that's what we're gonna layer it with. All right. So normally what I do is I don't like glue everything. Okay, I don't glue everything. Okay. Normally the sides I will keep okay not attached so that I can sneak in bits and pieces of stuff onto the sides. Right? So it's just the middle. Because like for example, this one. Right? So you can sneak it in at the back like so. Right? And then okay, we can put this in. That. So you see that we have created like a very nice scene. Okay, even the pieces I don't normally like adhere all the way through so that again I can still put in stuff underneath here and there. So let's layer this together. So it's like that thing balances over that. Right? There you go. All right. So add stenciling. We add the focal points. All right. And then step 6. All right. So we're almost done because this is just 7 steps from Vicky. All right. So step 6. Okay. Please do double check. I might have missed, some of, or maybe named some of them wrong. Okay. Seal and color. Okay. So next is to seal and color. Seal and color. Okay. If you want. Okay. Seal and color if you want. Okay. Because remember, this is paper. But then if you want to add, additional coloring, although the ones we use are already actually have color. Okay. So you can seal it. Okay. So normally you seal it with a clear gel medium, but since I no longer have available a clear gel medium, actually Vicky suggests what is that product? A stenciling glue or something, some sort of like that, right? So that's what she suggests. So because but I don't have that, so I will just use what I have, and what I have is this transparent gesso. Whoops! Whoa, that was a lot. Okay, so normally this is what I use for my face journaling. Okay, so it will seal it. Okay, so that you can add. Because the one I have is the one we used a while ago. It's a vintage seal, and since I don't already, it's already like vintage looking anyway, so I don't want to add that one anymore. So I will just add this one. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's just try this. Okay, we're almost done. All right. All right. It's dry. Okay, so after you've dried it, okay, let me just wipe this gesso off my desk because I might accidentally, you know. Okay, there you go. All right. So the next step, okay, color if you want. Okay, she does have this. I will just grab what she showed in her videos are actually the thicker pit pens from Faber-Castell. They're the pit artist pen. So what she says is that okay, so if that works, I hope that some of these are basically all the pit pens that I have, the only ones I have. All right. So she says that you can grab what she has were actually really like the thicker ones. Okay. So I hope that I have actually, because it's supposed to be non-porous already. So what she says is if you put a little bit of this and then you can rub it like so. Oh yes, it works. Right? So you can add a little bit more color, okay, if you want, and then you can rub it with your fingers. Okay, and this is not gonna work if you didn't seal your paper. Okay, because this is okay. So even if let's say she said you have like for alcohol ink marker stuff like that, right? So those are kind of glossy and stuff, but it won't spread like the one like this one. Oh, I love it. See? All right, so let's do a little bit of dark brown for this one, right? So if you want to add more like details, okay, so the nice thing about this is, you can just add a bit and then you can, spread it around with your fingers like so. Okay, again, it's imperative that for you to be able to use this technique, she said that, okay, again, it's a Faber-Castell Pit pen. Okay, but what she has is the thicker ones. What I have are the brush ones that are smaller, and I actually use them for calligraphy, right? So, and then when I saw her use this, and then she said, "Oh, you can also use the ones that are not this thick, but as long as it's a Faber-Castell Pit pen." I said, "Oh my gosh, I have those." So I tried it, and it works, right? So after step 6, finally, we move on to the last step. Okay. And that is, okay, I think maybe in the last 3 steps, maybe I've mixed everything up, or I maybe, maybe there's a different name she used. So just head on to her channel for that, is to doodle with white or outline the title. Okay. So how will I say that? Outline and doodle. And doodle. There you go. So now you can actually, okay, let me just remove this. Okay, you can choose now your sentiment. I like that she also, like me, she likes having sentiments as part of her work. In my case, whether it be a card or a scrapbook, I love, 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 like a sentiment or a title of some sort, right? So let's go and check out some of the ones I have here and check which one kind of, would work with what we have. Okay, inspire, living life, treasure, lifetime magic, music, breathtaking, kindness, memories, look, journey, adventure, living life. All right, so these are more like words that you can put together. Create what's important for you. Protect your magic. Create what sets your heart on fire. Build your wings. Find your balance. Be gentle with yourself. Oh, I think this one has that kind of a vibe. Right? So, kind of like maybe here. I feel it's like I want it here. Could it be there? Ah, I find that I want it here, right? So if I put it here, All right. So what she says is that you can actually add, a little bit of doodles. Okay, now I just need to grab some of my pens. I need to look for it. Alright, I found my pens, some of my pens. But these are gel pens. Oh yeah, but let's look for the white gel pen. Okay, so the white is not here. Alright, so we need a white gel. I should have looked earlier on. Okay, so where are my white? Okay, gel pens. Okay. We just got, oh, there. I found it, friends. Okay. Hopefully this one still works. All right. Okay, so and then if you want, you can, she said, make some more doodles if you want, or you can get some of that white gel roll. Okay, and then, just since this is kind of white, instead of white, I will put like a white border, a black border around it, like so. Okay, so if it's black or dark, then you can put a white around it. Okay, and then on some of your, stuff, you can just add some highlights here and there using your, your white gel pen or your gel wall. Okay, just to add some. Okay, just hope it fits. Let me see if we have here we have an acrylic pen that's white. Okay, so you can put some details, add a little bit details onto the stuff. Just to add a little bit of, make it nice. All right, so there you go. And then to finish it off, you just splatter away. All right, so I will splatter. Okay, so I will just get some of my white ink. Okay, so we will just splatter away. Where is that white? Okay, so let us use my PH Dr. Martin's white, okay, watercolor. Okay, so let's just put because this is already liquid, so let's just put, okay, some onto the sides, and then grab a little bit of a brush. And then, okay, and then just, splatter with white. Okay, like so. Okay. All right, so let's just wipe my table before they actually dry up. Okay, and then so here is now my finished art journal. Okay, I will just my desk. Okay, and I will show you the final product. Okay. Okay, let me just dry it. Okay, so sometimes they're like big drops, so I will just do like that. Okay. And then let's just try everything else. Ah, that ruined that. It made it too big. Anyway, it's okay. All right. All right. So that's it, my friend. This is my finished art journal. Find your balance. Not too bad, not too shabby for a first timer project, right? So awesome. I love it. Okay, again, just followed. Okay, thank you, Vicky, for that awesome, video that inspired me to actually follow and, do and use for my art mini art journal for today. All right, so that is our project for today. And let me just go back to the chat. Okay, let me super focus on this one. All right, so you can see. All right. Oh, fixing breakfast. Hi, Alyssa. Good morning. Thank you so much for dropping by. And Vicky is back with breakfast. Hi, Alyssa. Susan is still here. Gotta run. Time for breakfast with my hubby. All right, what's for breakfast, Yvette? I'm kind of curious about what you guys eat for breakfast. Here in the Philippines, most of the time, it's bread or cereal and coffee or tea, and oftentimes rice with, either fried fish or meat or something like that. Bye, Yvette. Love seeing the final product as I forget everything you did, said Christina. All right, it's pretty, right? I have to say it is pretty. Again, so just the 7 steps. We started with layering the rice paper, and then we did some, stamping, and then we did some stenciling. Okay, and then after the stencils, we did some, we chose the focal point, and then we added them, we clustered them, and then we, what did we do after? Oh, we looked for the sentiment, and then just did some doodles, and then inked some of them with, added color using, Faber-Castell pens, and then just splatter away, and that's it. We're done. Right? So, and Alisa says, can you add, okay, hold on. Let's go to the bigger so we can read. Okay. Alisa said, okay. Can you add extra color to glossy paper with alcohol? Oh, yes. She mentioned that. No. She said that on alcohol paper, alcohol ink paper, or glossy paper, it won't, I'm gonna get this. Absolutely porous papers, it can't move. But with that as well, she said cannot. So the thing is, you really need to seal the paper before that Faber-Castell Pit pen would actually move. I just use my finger. Okay. So, but great question. So how can you prevent the alcohol marker from rubbing off entirely? It's not actually alcohol. This is a Pit pen. So it's not alcohol marker, Alyssa. Ano yun? Okay, this one. All right. So this is a Faber-Castell Pit Artist pen. So it's actually not an alcohol marker. Okay, so that's why she said it can't work. The style where we actually like added, okay. Oh, this is different. Okay, this is not the brush. Okay, so normally the brush. Okay, let me see. So since I already add gesso, right? So let's say I add that. Okay, it's very strong, right? So what I did was to just, spread it like so. Again, I'm able to do so because I sealed it with gesso, or if you have gel medium, you can also do that. So she said specifically for this marker anyways, So I'm not sure with other markers. It just so happens that I actually have this. What she has are actually the bigger ones. This is the only one I have, and most of the time this was actually used for calligraphy, right? So I use it for calligraphy, not really for this. All right. Okay. Maybe my friends, go and watch again the video of Vicky P. I actually attach, or the link is in the description of this video, right? So maybe you can also ask from that video, okay, if ever, okay, can this be possible? Okay, so I love your lipstick. It's a beautiful color. Thank you. Right, so it's kind of a little bit darker red, not really like a tinge of, not very red, okay, because it, I feel, blends with my skin color. Thank you, Christina. Hello, Christina, how are you feeling today? Oh, why is Christina not feeling well? All right, so I hope that, Christina, thank you again, my friend, for dropping by, and I hope that you did enjoy this art journal for beginners. At the same time, the earlier part of this was to try to determine if my Nuvo drops are still alive and they're not yet dead. So we actually realized that they're not, but as a hack that Dawn actually inspired us to do from yesterday's redo of my background, my pegboard. She said maybe you can use that for your art journal, okay, but instead of the usual like a drop, use it to color, okay, your what do you call this, your texture paste. But we realized, as when we were testing, you will need a lot of this to actually color in the texture paste. So I feel that this one really is best to use as an enamel dot or drop kind of thing. So I didn't use it anymore for the as part of the texture paste for our project for today. Again, that is it, my friends. Again, a last look at from like this, a blank page. This is now what we had finished. Find your balance. And I think, as we grow wiser, not older, but wiser, finding our balance, okay, not just as crafters, but as whatever you are in your life right now, right? So finding that perfect balance is always something that we always strive and yearn for. All right. Feeling better. Oh, that's great. That's great. Headache is rarely there. So improvement. Thank you so much, Christina, for sharing that. And we're happy that you're actually feeling better. We'll watch the video link. Yes, Alisa, please, right? So, and you will be inspired probably from that video. You'll be able to watch so many others, right? She is an amazing artist, specifically with art journaling. Again, thank you so much, my dear friends. See you again tomorrow for another Craft Every Day in August episode here at Mommy Guide Inc. Hold on, friends, before I go. Of course, I always... Okay, this one I have to put it somewhere here, my desk, right? So please don't forget to, okay, as Susan mentioned earlier, please don't forget to like this video, and yes, share away, especially if someone is actually just starting out as a crafter. And yes, please don't forget to hit that notification bell so you always get notified when I have a video upload next. And subscribe. If you like what you see thus far, please do consider subscribing as well. All right, so with that, thank you so much, everyone. See you again tomorrow for another Crafty Nights episode here at Mommy Guide Inc. Enjoy your weekend. God bless. Bye. Bye, Vicky.